Crystal chandeliers shimmered over the grand engagement banquet as the city's wealthiest families applauded the happy couple. Expensive champagne flowed, cameras flashed, and everyone believed they were witnessing the beginning of a perfect fairy tale. Then, without warning, a young woman pushed through the crowd with tears streaming down her face. Holding her trembling stomach, she cried loudly, "I'm having your baby." Every smile vanished. The music stopped. Hundreds of eyes turned toward the stunned billionaire groom. But before anyone could recover from the shock, a tiny voice rose from the corner of the room. The maid's 3-year-old son looked at the crying woman with innocent eyes and asked one simple question that froze every heart in the room. "Before we continue, if you believe kindness is stronger than wealth, honesty is more powerful than lies, and everyone deserves a second chance. Please like this video, comment where you're watching from, share it with someone who loves emotional stories, and subscribe to the channel for more heartfelt journeys like this one." Everyone stared at little Max, the son of the mansion's quiet maid, Rosa. He was known only as the cheerful child who spent his afternoons coloring in the servants' quarters while his mother worked long hours cleaning the estate. Nobody expected anything important to come from such a tiny boy. Yet, his innocent question echoed through the silent ballroom as he looked directly at the woman claiming to be pregnant and softly wondered why she had said the baby's father lived in another city just a few weeks ago. The sentence was simple, spoken with the honesty only a child possesses, but it landed with the force of thunder. The groom, Ethan Whitfield, felt the ground disappear beneath him. He had built one of the country's largest technology companies through discipline and integrity. Those closest to him knew he treated every employee with respect, from executives to gardeners. Yet, in a single moment, whispers spread across the room as guests questioned everything they believed about him. His fiancée, Sophia, stared at the crying woman with horror, unable to understand what was happening. She had trusted Ethan completely, but the accusation planted doubt in every heart present. Rosa rushed forward, apologizing for her son's interruption, but Max clung to his mother's hand. He wasn't trying to embarrass anyone. Children often remember details adults ignored. Only a month earlier, Rosa had taken Max with her to deliver forgotten clothes to one of the guest houses owned by Ethan's family. While waiting outside, Max had overheard the same woman laughing on the phone, proudly telling someone that the baby's real father was working overseas and would never return. The words had stayed in the little boy's mind because he had asked his mother afterward why babies sometimes had fathers who lived far away. Rosa had gently changed the subject, believing it wasn't her place to interfere in adults' affairs. As silence filled the ballroom, the woman who had made the accusation suddenly looked frightened. She insisted the child was confused, but confidence had disappeared from her face. Several guests exchanged uneasy glances, remembering that they had never seen Ethan alone with her despite her repeated attempts to attend company events. Sophia's father, a respected attorney, quietly suggested that everyone remain calm until the truth could be verified. What had begun as a celebration was now becoming a search for honesty. Ethan remained remarkably composed despite the humiliation. Instead of shouting or defending himself with anger, he simply asked for medical records and evidence. The woman hesitated. Her story began changing with every question. She struggled to remember dates she had confidently mentioned only moments before. The room grew heavier with each contradiction. Even those who had immediately believed her accusation started realizing something was terribly wrong. Then an elderly guest stepped forward. He was a retired family physician who had known Ethan since childhood. He quietly recognized the woman from another incident months earlier involving a wealthy businessman she had accused before suddenly disappearing after accepting a private settlement. Murmurs swept across the ballroom. The pattern became impossible to ignore. She had targeted successful men, hoping fear of public scandal would force them into silence. Overwhelmed by pressure and surrounded by witnesses, the woman finally broke down. Through tears, she admitted that someone had offered her a large amount of money to destroy Ethan's engagement before the wedding. She confessed she was indeed pregnant, but Ethan was not the father. The mastermind behind the cruel scheme was revealed to be a jealous business rival who had recently lost a major contract to Ethan's company and wanted revenge by destroying his personal life. The confession shattered the room. Sophia covered her face as tears rolled down her cheeks, not because she doubted Ethan anymore, but because she realized how close they had come to losing everything they had built together. Ethan gently embraced her, reminding everyone that trust is not proven when life is easy, but when storms test every promise people make. As the guests slowly regained their composure, Ethan walked away from the center of attention and approached Rosa and little Max. The frightened maid expected to be scolded for her son interrupting such an important event. Instead, Ethan knelt to Max's height and thanked him for speaking honestly. He explained that courage sometimes comes from the smallest voices and that truth has a way of finding light when people choose kindness over fear. Rosa burst into tears, admitting she had spent years believing people like her were invisible in houses filled with wealth and influence. That evening proved otherwise. Ethan surprised everyone once again by announcing that Rosa would no longer work as a maid. He offered her a position managing the charitable foundation his late mother had established to help struggling single parents. He believed that someone who had raised such an honest and compassionate son possessed the character needed to help others with dignity. Rosa accepted with trembling hands, overwhelmed that one truthful moment had changed her family's future forever. Months later, Ethan and Sophia were married in a far more intimate ceremony filled not with luxury but with gratitude. Among the honored guests sat Rosa and Max in the front row. Instead of expensive gifts, the couple requested donations to children's education programs inspired by the little boy whose innocent question had protected their future. The story spread across the city, reminding thousands that honesty does not depend on age, wealth, or social status. Sometimes the smallest voice carries the greatest truth. Years passed and Max grew into a confident young man who dedicated his life to helping vulnerable children find safe homes and brighter futures. Whenever people asked why he had chosen such a path, Rosa smiled quietly, remembering that unforgettable evening when a child simply spoke what he knew to be true. No rehearsed speech, no grand plan, just honesty from a pure heart. That single question had not only saved a marriage, but had also transformed countless lives through the kindness that followed. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue bringing meaningful stories that remind the world compassion and truth still matter. Before this story ends, tell us in the comments, do you believe one honest sentence can change a person's entire life? We'd truly love to read your thoughts. As the sun set behind the chapel after Ethan and Sophia's wedding, Max watched white doves rise into the golden sky. He didn't fully understand why adults called him brave. He had only asked a question that seemed important. Yet that was the beauty of truth. It never needed to shout. It only needed one fearless heart willing to speak it. And in a world often clouded by deception, the quiet honesty of a child became the miracle that changed everything forever.